Okay, we're back. Okay, we can go. All right, the next item is item number 15, 274 Roncesvalles Avenue. Hopefully Zahira will come back before I finish reading this. So we have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 5 photographs of existing trees. We have a forestry report that's asking for conditions, and we have correspondence in opposition from 272, which is adjacent, as well as 114 Westminster Avenue. And we received 3 photographs in late yesterday in the supplemental agenda. And I'm showing 2, 3, 4, 4. Do you have all 4 speakers, staff?
Through you, Madam Chair, we're just missing one speaker, Peter Muller, but I'm trying to get a hold of him.
I'm sorry, which one?
Peter Muller?
Oh, okay. Okay, so we do have 3 speakers online right now, and I've got everybody. So do I have the agent on the line?
Yes, speaking. My name is Evan Torrens. I'm the agent for the owner of 274 Roncesvalles Avenue.
Okay, thank you. So we do have 4 speakers. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 3 of them. In the meantime, I'll let you start your presentation. I'm going to start the clock now. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. We are asking for 3 minor variances today. One regarding vehicle access to a parking space, and 2 both related to a laneway setback or a laneway suite. It's important to note that the proposed laneway is considered as of right. We've had a number of zoning reviews done. I've received a clean zoning certificate, meaning we could go ahead, save for these 2 setback variances to obtain building permits. So what happened at that point was my client actually decided to propose a new garage to the south of where the laneway house will be to replace the existing one we're going to have to take down. That didn't require a minor variance, and it also didn't require, it didn't kick off any other minor variances, but it did trigger a funny one that is number 1, which says vehicle access to a parking spot on a lot must be from a lane if it abuts a lane. But given that this is a unique property and it actually has access via a lane and a driveway that is existing and has existed, well, for as long as my owner has owned it directly to Roncesvalles, we believe that this is minor in nature. So given the photos we've attached, you can see there's an existing curb cut, and the existing tenants in the residential main house use the laneway off of, the driveway off of Roncesvalles to park. As mentioned, we have submitted a kind of a tree taxonomy to urban forestry, and there was one condition based off of the I believe the white pine or the fir tree at the very back. But other than that, they had no objections. Engineering reviewed it, and they also had no objections to any of the variances. And so I'll speak to the last 2 very quickly. Again, this is an as-of-right laneway house, and so given that we knew we were going to committee, we previously had a walkout facing the backyard, and we decided it would be better for all the tenants in both units to have a more open, clear backyard or front yard of the laneway house. And so that's why we're proposing to put the walkout abutting the lane. No part of the actual building will encroach on that 1.5 meter setback, just the stairs, the rail, and that canopy. And then finally, we have full support from 135 Jeffrey Avenue.
Oh, is that it? Hello? Evan, did we lose you? I think so.
Hi, Evan, can you hear us? You may have been cut off. or there may have been poor signal. Through you, Madam Chair, I'm going to give Evan a call so that he can continue his presentation.
Yeah, I'm not there anymore. Okay, well, you can, as long as people, if, okay, we can't hear you guys anymore. If you can hear me, just wave. Can you hear me? Panel members? No, nobody can hear me.
Hello, this is a test. Can you hear us? Nobody hears us. This is community room 2. This is a test, audio test. Could you hear us?
I do.
Yep, I can hear you too.
Thank you for your patience.
Hi, Evan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Yep.
Okay, well, let's try this again. I feel like I've been apologizing all day, but we had technical difficulties yet once again. So if I can get you to do a presentation before we go to the opposition, of which I know we had 3. I don't know if we have the 4th one now, but in any case, if you can go ahead, I'll start the clock now.
Okay, from the top. My name's Evan Torrance.
To be honest, it's been such a I don't even know where we left off, so let's just start over again.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so my name's Evan Torrance. I'm the agent for 274 Roncesvalles Avenue. Today we're asking for 3 minor variances, one pertaining to vehicle access to a parking spot on a lot, and then 2 pertaining that are related that are pertaining to a laneway setback for a laneway house. I think, as I mentioned earlier, it's important to note that the laneway house being proposed is considered as of right, save for those 2 minor variances. So we've had a number of reviews done and have in fact received a clean zoning certificate, which means we were given the go-ahead to obtain building permits. However, my client at the time thought that it would be good to replace the garage that is being taken down and rebuild a new one to the south, which kicked off the vehicle access variant. And we also then decided, given that we were going to committee, that the walkout would be better suited to the north instead of facing the backyard to allow for more backyard space for all the tenants. It should be noted that this laneway is a dead-end laneway. It terminates at our property. So that's why we believe that this is a minor variance, as there'll be no vehicle access required at that point. Furthermore, none of the building will encroach that setback, but just the stairway and the overhead awning. And then the final variance is the vehicle access variance, which is kind of a funny one because this is a unique property that has both laneway and existing access to Roncesvalles. It was triggered when we decided to build a single car garage at the end of it. And you can see the provided photos that there's long been a curb cut. My client has owned the property for over a decade. And actually the site survey is from 1977 and it shows an existing driveway, so it's long been existing. Urban forestry was given a taxonomy of the existing trees. They said they have no objections save for the white spruce, so they are requesting, I guess, a more formal application of which they'll decide at that point. And engineering was contacted and they have no issue with either of the variances. So. And finally, we do have the full support of, let me just check the address, 135 Jeffrey Avenue, which on the survey is the property that abuts ours at the end of the lane. And in fact, they are going to be submitting for building permits shortly for their own laneway house and are also going to be starting construction in the spring. So I'm aware that there are other people that would like to speak, so I'll leave it there and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, I think we'll hold questions till we hear from the opposition, so we'll come back to you after the opposition. Okay, so all right, do we have Deborah McNevin on the line?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you just state your name and address for the record, and then I'll start the clock for 5 minutes, okay?
Deborah McNevin, 114 Westminster Avenue.
Okay, go ahead. You have 5 minutes.
Okay. I agree with the agent that this is a unique situation because the lane is a dead-end lane that ends on the north side of the lot line of 274 Roncesvalles. So the proposed laneway house and garage will be parallel to our side lot line. And the house will overlook our backyard. They're proposing a 2-story house with windows on the east side, which will overlook our yard, and windows on the south side, which will look towards our house and yard. And the garage, they're proposing a very small setback, and it will create a wall along our backyard. So most laneway houses face the laneway and have on either side of them garages or parking lots or parking spots for residential housing. The main building at 274 Roncesvalles is a mixed-use, multi-tenant building. The owner uses the ground floor as offices for his business, and the residential tenants occupy the second floor and the third floors. The owner does not live in the building. At other buildings within 2 blocks in either direction of the house on Roncesvalles house an insurance agent, an optometrist's office, a real estate office, and a florist shop. So I'm not as sure as the agent that this is a laneway house as of right, as he says, because I thought laneway houses were behind residential buildings used as residences, not as commercial buildings. So one of my main concerns is privacy, that the windows will overlook our backyard. The spruce tree that will have to come down if the garage is built does afford us some privacy. But forestry, I gather, has not said yet whether the tree can be taken down. I'm also concerned about the grade difference between our lot and 274 Roncesvalles. Our property is 8 to 10 inches lower than their property. And there will be 2 buildings with flat roofs and an asphalt driveway. So there'll be a lot of runoff of rain and snow, and I'm not sure where that will be able to go. I'm also concerned about noise levels. Lots of people already occupy the building on the property, and then there will be more, and there will be construction disturbances as well. The other concern I have, which is really not a concern for me, is they're going to have a driveway with a garage at the back and people living in a house. So there'll be the house, the driveway, and the garage. So there'll be vehicular traffic through this backyard when people are living in the backyard. So I know the city wants to intensify the downtown, but I'm very concerned that this impacts us adversely and impacts, the other neighbor at 272 Roncesvalles adversely, and that very little consideration is given to our rights as homeowners. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have any questions of the speaker panel members? Seeing none? Okay, thank you, Ms. McNiven. Do you have Mary Karras on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, can I ask you to state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Mary Karras. I live at 278 Roncesvalles.
All righty, I'm going to start the clock now. You have 5 minutes.
My main concern, or one of the main concerns, is about safety. I understand this is Cuthbert Holdings that have the property, so I don't know whether they are even in the country, the owners. It sounds like a corporation. They're off-site, as you've mentioned, and that is a big safety point. The owner should be on site as per specifications for the residential part of Roncesvalles. And so I understand that's not the case. At present, as far as I can see, there's 4 floors that are rented or that are occupied, the basement as well. And the owner, again, safety is not on site, maybe in London, England, as far as research goes. An example of the safety that the owner should be on site is because I've lived there for 47 years. At one point, the previous owner, Aurelia Canosa, one of the renters on the 3rd floor, had left a pot on the stove. I smelt the burning from the street. I ran up to the 3rd floor. I opened it, the door, luckily it was open, took the pot off the stove. The whole 3rd floor was full of smoke. The owner needs to be on site. That is a main consideration. Now, as far as the new plans, it's supposed to be an extra building coming in with 2 floors, a basement, and a single-car garage. It is, as was noted, it is a dead-end laneway. I drive my car in and out of my garage at 278. I have the garbage at the back. There's only a chain link fence separating the laneway from my yard. As I said, lived there for 47 years. I'm a single lady. It is very easily, you can access my backyard. Again, safety when it gets dark, easy for people to hide. And nowadays, because of the pandemic, there are people that are mentally unstable in the neighborhood. This is very close to St. Joseph's Hospital. That there's a lot of transients around that have mental issues. There's an increase in the neighborhood of homeless people and theft, increase in alcohol consumption, marijuana use that I smell when I go out in the backyard. It is all about safety. And otherwise, the proposed changes with the 2 floors, basement, and single-car garage, all I can see that is adding to another, possibly down the line, 4 more units. There's 4 units, another 4 units. What people are doing, and especially because this is a corporation, is they'll do a flip. Just like my neighbor, 276, I have been there for half a year. Every day of the past half a year has been construction. Illegal. As well as like major construction in the house, and they also wanted to do an illegal unit in the garage. So they're trying to increase the capacity. I'm not sure about these people, if they're not going to turn the units at the back into more units and rent them out R&B. All I can see it is about the money. Also privacy. Okay, the privacy part. This property is going to be in relation to Ship to Mine on the southwest side, so it'll be blocking some of the sun. I'm also concerned about the fact that there are trees that are going to be cut down. Let me see. There are. Oh, hang on a moment. I have all kinds of notes over here and a little bit nervous here. I'm sorry. Anyways, global warming happening, I find is very irresponsible to have trees that are going to be cut down. The property just behind the laneway, 135, they're proposing to do the same thing, as to put in some units, cut down some trees over there. So I see that back laneway as treeless. Also, it's a safety issue. All this extra traffic over there, I'm worried for my safety. And
Okay,
at 1:30.
I'm sorry, I need you to wrap up. You're at 5 minutes.
Yeah, and just a brand new owner at 135, Joffrey, the same thing. He's, it's all about the money. So, and Peter, who is, I don't know whether he's with us at 133, Joffrey, he also had concern about the extra traffic in the back, and we are older neighbors, so it's all about safety.
Okay.
I don't find this very responsible.
All right. I just, and thank you very much for your comments. I just would like to reiterate that this committee looks at planning issues. I understand that there's a lot of emotional issues surrounding new construction, especially when you've been there for a long time. But I do want you to know that this committee cannot deal with some of the other issues that have been mentioned, such as, people that aren't supposed to be in the yards, and construction noise, and some of the other things. So if you could please make your comments directed to the actual building structure and the variances, that would be appreciated. Okay, can we go to the next speaker?
Through you, Madam Chair. So just to confirm, Mary, is Barbara speaking through your line connection?
Yes. So you tell her, Mary.
Yes, she is.
Okay, great. Barbara, can you just identify yourself, name and address for the record?
Yes, my name is Barbara Swit, SWIT hyphen Ardenaz, ARDANAZ, 87 Fern Avenue.
Okay, thank you very much. I've reset the clock, so I'm going to start it now. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, I don't live on Roncesvalles, I live on Fern, but all the problems that we're facing here on Fern is starting to happen on Roncesvalles. The laneway over here is no longer a laneway, it is a full-blown street. It's minor variations, as these agents keep referring to, are not minor at all. There was supposed to be a minor variation across the street. It's now a 3.5-story building. We now have all kinds of trees that have been cut down because of these minor variations. This is not responsible. If we're cutting down trees, we're raising the water. If we're covering everything in asphalt, we're causing flooding issues. My neighbor put in wall-to-wall cement, nothing but flooding issues until they finally realized they have some green space. Now, I understand that you have to have 25% soft landscaping. I'm looking at this picture of this house, and it's asphalt from beginning to end. And at the end, where there was a tree or something small growing there that was green, that's going to be eliminated as well. So you're creating an asphalt jungle over there. And that's not very good for any kind of drainage problems for the neighbors. Now, and 135 is the same thing. So they're going to be building the same replay with, they're going to be breaking, what do you call that? The depth length variance. So all these depth length variances are meaning nothing anymore because now people are building, line to line on their property. And I think also because we don't know who these property owners are, there are 25 of these companies. We don't know if any of them are even in Toronto. So who's going to be shoveling the snow? Who's going to be taking care of the leaves? Who's going to be taking care of, tenants that are not responsible and cause havoc? Because if the owners are not even in the country, from what I'm reading, it's a couple of people living in London, England. It's not fair to our city. It's not fair to our city. You're cutting up trees, you're paving everything over with cement, you're going wall to wall extensions. When you have totally empty buildings downtown, you could put homeless people in. These insurance companies that own all these empty buildings that are sitting downtown, where is their responsibilities with the increased density? They have none.
Okay,
They're land bank.
Sorry, can I
And
just,
okay,
can I just direct you to the variances here?
Yes, the variances is the problem that you're covering it up with asphalt. That causes flooding issues. I personally experienced this with my neighbor. You're cutting down trees. That increases heating. You're not putting in variances of owners living on the property. This is a house. This is not a factory. This is a house. And you're also cutting off access for people to rent affordable houses and for people to be able to afford to buy houses. My children can't buy in the city because these companies are buying up the city. And I don't think that's fair to us. And I think you have to take global warming responsibly. And I do believe that these agents, one after another, I heard this all morning, that they're only minor variances. And then the last one, that house with the picture, that wasn't a minor variance. That went from the sidewalk to the back lane. That's not a minor variances. That's the same thing that's happening in my laneway between Fern and Garden. These houses are bigger than the original houses. They cut down the trees. They have all kinds of parties now. That's not my business. They could do that. But what is that doing to the laneway? Is it a laneway or is it a major thoroughfare or is it a street? What is it? We cannot keep turning laneways into major streets without the necessary lighting, with all the necessary plumbing and electricity. Who pays for that? And who makes money off of that? Not me. Not me. When I have all kinds of neighbors looking in on me now. I have no privacy. I used to have beautiful trees and a lovely lawn. and I can enjoy my backyard. I can't do that because I'll tell you why. Because when I get a letter from realtors, you know what they say? The first thing they say, laneway housing possibility. Not, house has 4 bedrooms and 3 washrooms, laneway possibility. That's how the real estate agents are selling houses in this neighborhood. And the people who are buying them are not single owners. They're multi-corporations, or they're people who have many, many houses. The house next door to mine, also multi-owner.
Barbara?
They're renting it for...
Barbara,
Yes.
I really need you to wrap up. You're over 5 minutes now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for allowing me this. I really need to say, if you want to keep the character of the neighborhood for families, for children, for old people, you have to stop bending backwards over to these corporations who come in, run and grab, and then turn our neighborhoods upside down. I'm tired of my street being turned into an Airbnb. And I'm tired of all these people buying properties just to rent them out to who knows who, all the time.
Okay.
Frequent turnover.
Okay.
Don't turn my neighborhood into a slum.
All right.
Thank you.
I have to, thank you very much for your comments. Were you able to reach Peter Mueller?
Yes, hello. Yes, this is Peter. Well, it's not Peter, it's his wife.
Hi. All right.
Peter's just in surgery. So my name is Kathleen Muller.
Okay.
And I live at 133 Jeffrey.
All right, just give me a sec to reset the clock, and then go ahead. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Our issue is one of privacy. Our house on 133 Jeffrey will look onto the proposed 2-story house, the laneway house, and our front room window will look right into that house, or they will look into us. So our concern is one of privacy. So it's to do with being overlooked. So we're in exactly the same situation as the house on Westminster, a little bit further away, but it's the same issue. My understanding of laneway houses were that they would be on a street, and the laneway house would only overlook the house that it belongs to, or peripherally on either side to some extent, those houses, gardens. But this laneway is not that kind of situation. It is adjacent to other properties, and so we are one of those adjacent properties. And so it's an issue of being overlooked by the laneway houses. I have no problem with a 1-story laneway house. It's the 2-story aspect that I think will totally change the character of these neighborhoods. And will create these overlook problems because it's not the typical setup that perhaps the planners envisioned when they had rows of laneway houses proposed. This is adjacent. So that's it. So that's what my husband, Peter Muller, and me are concerned about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Panel members, do you have questions of any of the speakers? Seeing none. Okay, thank you. Mr. Torrens, are you there?
I am, yeah.
If you could speak to the issues raised, I'm going to reset the clock to 5 minutes, but specifically to the overlook on 114 Westminster and 133 Jeffries.
Again, this proposal does not require minor variances. This is exactly the type of infill housing that the city of Toronto has passed and is encouraging. The fact that now there will be one extra family living in a laneway house in relative proximity to other neighbors is just going to be an issue that we'll all have to compromise on. 133 Jeffrey is surrounded by houses 360 degrees. 282, 280, 278 all can look into her backyard as it stands. I appreciate that people value their privacy, and so, it's an issue, as I mentioned, that we all grapple with living in a dense urban metropolis. I've heard a lot of issues regarding safety, hardscaping, and as mentioned, our proposal addresses all of those, and we aren't requiring any minor variances for soft landscaping of the like. So I'll leave it there.
Okay, let me see if the panel has any questions. Panel members? Anybody? Mr. Bayat?
Just a couple of quick items of clarification. Mr. Torrance, the variance number 1 basically indicates, and just correct me if I'm wrong, that your access from the laneway is essentially for pedestrian use. There's no garage access, so you're not using a vehicle to you're not requiring vehicle access along the laneway. Is that correct?
Correct. Currently, there is a vehicle that backs out of that garage, and that will no longer be the case. They will all back or drive out onto Roncesvalles. So now it will be pedestrian traffic.
Thank you. And on the east side of that proposed laneway suite, if I read the plans correctly, there's about a 9-foot distance between the lot line and the building.
That's correct. So we actually could have been tight to the lot line at that point as well, but we decided to slide it forward to provide a small backyard and a greater offset from the neighbor's backyard.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other panel member have any questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll take it into committee then. Comments? Mr. Bayat?
Madam Chair, I sympathize with all the comments that we've heard from neighbors and neighbors near and far or further away. And I understand the challenges that many of them are experiencing in terms of all the changes that are occurring. However, we are looking at we're specifically looking at the variances that are presented to us. This is an unusual lot that has this garage access plus the driveway for, leading onto Roncesvalles. It is unusual, and I can see the owners, whether they live here or not, coming up with a creative solution to providing additional housing in the back. So I have no difficulty in supporting the application as it stands. I don't think, I think there might be an engineering condition, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there is. Engineering and forestry.
So I would, engineering and forestry, and those are two conditions that would be applied to this application. I wouldn't have any difficulty supporting it.
Okay, anyone else have any comments? If not, Mr. Bayat, you can make that a motion then.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we accept the, approve the application with keeping in mind two conditions, one from engineering and the other from forestry.
Okay, Ms. Hayes is seconding, so motion to approve the application, including the forestry condition in the November 23rd report, engineering in August 16th report, moved by Mr. Bayat, seconded by Ms. Hayes. All in favor? The application has been approved. And thank you, everyone, for your comments. Okay, the next item is item number 16, 30 Dreamers Way. So that was formerly 365 Parliament Street and 295 Gerrard Street East. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a covering letter from Allison Tudor, the agent, previous committee decisions affecting the property, a massing model from the agent, as well as presentation material, copy of 3 bylaws. We have email correspondence from community planning. We have correspondence from strategic initiatives as well as engineering, and nobody has any concerns. Do I have the agent on the line?
Hi, yes, Allison Tudor, I'm here.
Hi. Panel members, do you need a presentation on this one? Do any of you have any questions for the agent? Okay. Allison, we've read the material. We have no questions. We don't need a presentation. We're ready to take it into committee. Is there something you want to add that's not in the materials that we've gone over?
No, I think everything's covered pretty well. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay, panel members, let's take it into committee. Ms. Hayes?
Thank you. I've reviewed all the material on file and it was quite extensive. It is not uncommon from the initial vision of this type of development in the broader context of the large redevelopment of the Regent Park District, that there be some adjustments as things move along. I think that what is being proposed and the changes that these variances will authorize does not substantively change what was initially proposed and the vision as part of the Regent Park redevelopment plan. The planning department has indicated that they have not offered any comment indicating they have any concerns with the matter. I think that the heights are comparable to other redevelopment that is occurring in that general area. And if my colleagues have no further comment, I would make a motion to approve the application, and I do not believe there are any conditions.
Okay, motion to approve, moved by Ms. Hayes, seconded by Mr. Reid. All in favor? Your application's been approved unanimously. Thank you. Next item is item number 17, 368 WINNETT Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 5 photographs of the existing dwelling submitted by the applicant. We have staff reports from transportation. They're asking for conditions as well as permit parking. Also asking for conditions, which is to remove the obsolete driveway and to get a permit. And forestry's asking for condition number 2. We have opposition letters from 395 WINNETT and 376. And we got additional materials late yesterday, a copy of a revised site plan, as well as opposition from 370, which is adjacent, 395 and 362. So do I have the agent on the line?
Hi, Robert. You've been unmuted.
Mr. Stubbs, are you there?
Hi, Robert. You've been unmuted, but we're not able to hear you. Perhaps you can come closer to the mic or unmute yourself on your end.
Hello?
Okay. Hi, Mr. Stubbs?
Yes, hello.
Okay.
Yes, this is me.
Okay, great. Cindy, do you have 2 speakers? We have no.
So through you, Madam Chair, Joseph Iannuzzi, he is in opposition but no longer able to speak.
Okay.
Rob Silverman, he has intended to speak, but I'm not able to reach him.
All right, Mr. Stubbs, we had 2 speakers. We're no longer able to, one can no longer speak. The other were unable to reach them. So I'm going to see if the panel need a presentation or not. Panel members, do you have questions, Ms. Hayes, or do you want a presentation?
Just a question. I just wanted to know, because I wasn't clear from the supplementary material yesterday, does that revised site plan revise the variances at all? And if so, what are the specifics?
No, there are 3 fewer variances than for the 3-story house that was originally proposed.
All right.
So can you take us through the public notice and indicate which variances are adjusted or no longer required?
Oh, yes. I would like to remove the second sentence of variance number 1, as the roof overhang has been removed.
Okay, I'm sorry. Are you removing variance number 1? Like you can't?
No, I cannot do that.
Okay.
What I want to do is remove the second sentence of variance 1.
You can't remove a sentence from a variance. So, are you looking at the notice
Okay.
are you looking at the notice that was sent out? So variance number 1 is for the height of the side exterior main walls facing a side
Okay,
lot.
that was removed.
So you're removing variance number 1.
Correct. To do with the height, yes.
Okay, so variance number 1 is removed. Anything else?
Okay, let me see. The 3 last variances to do with the parking remain.
Okay, so variances 6, 7, and 8 stay. Is that right?
6, 7, that's correct. They remain.
Okay. What about 2, 3, 4, and 5?
Okay, just a moment. Number 2 has been removed.
Okay.
And number 3.
Okay. Okay, so numbers 1, 2, and 3, variances have been removed.
Correct.
Everything else stays the same?
Just a moment. The only other one, well, like you said, I can't remove the second sentence of variance 1. That's the only change.
No, hang on. I thought you removed variance number 1, 2, and 3.
No, I'm sorry.
Variance 4?
Which one? That's correct. Yeah, number 4,
okay,
yes.
so you're talking about the new second level. You want to remove that sentence?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
So, and one other question I have, like, is this now a 2-story, not a 3-story? Like, I'm confused.
That's correct.
Okay, so
it's a 2-story.
Okay, so the purpose is incorrect also then? It should be to construct a new 2-story dwelling?
That's correct.
Okay, and I'm just going to go to staff for clarification on variance number,
Well,
where am I, 4?
Through you, Madam Chair, if we could just walk through this one more time, beginning with the purpose of application. So it would be to construct a new 2-story detached dwelling with a front porch, a rear ground floor deck, and a new 3rd-story deck. Also a front.
There's no 3rd story.
Okay, so we
No
will.
3rd story or deck.
Or deck. So we will remove and a rear 3rd-story deck to the purpose.
Correct.
Also, a front yard parking space is proposed. The existing 1-story detached dwelling will be demolished.
Yes, there's an existing parking driveway, but the parking, the owner has applied to park on the boulevard because there's insufficient space between the front of the house and the lot line.
Okay, that's fine.
For the car.
I think we're just right now want to make sure that these changes are recorded accurately. Okay, so you heard.
Correct.
Okay, so you heard staff read the purpose, so you're okay with that then?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay, moving forward, variance number 1 is removed, which means that you are in compliance with a maximum permitted height of all side exterior main walls facing a side lot line of 8.5 meters. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, variance number 2 is removed. You are in compliance
Correct.
with a maximum permitted floor space index of 0.8 times the area of the lot, which equates to 263.85 square meters. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, variance number 3 is removed because you no longer are proposing a 3rd-story deck.
Correct.
Okay, variance number 4. minimum required side yard setback is 1.2 meters. And you are requesting what are you requesting to have removed?
Keep the ground floor and remove the second level.
Okay, so then the sentence that reads,
Remove the second level.
okay.
Mhm.
So we will remove the third sentence, which reads, the new second level will be located 0.02 meters from the side south lot line. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And then variance number 5, 6, 7, 8 remain as is.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So panel members, do you have any questions of the applicant or the agent rather with all these changes? No? Okay, sir, we're ready to go into committee to make a decision, and we would be looking at this application as amended, and we would be looking
Correct.
at the revised plans that we received late yesterday.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so they were date received, I think we received them on the 30th. Okay, so we're in committee, panel members, so with those changes and the revised plans. Joanne, go ahead.
Thank you. With the amendments being proposed and the removal of the third floor, I don't have any problem with respect to the character. The variances that are being requested are minor and appropriate. The condition that transportation is requiring with respect to the submission of an application for a permit covers the parking issue if indeed they grant it. If they don't, then that's another issue. And if my colleagues have no further comment, I would be prepared to move a motion to approve the amended application, subject to the conditions of transportation and forestry condition number 1 and 2.
Okay, so that motion has been moved by Ms. Hayes, seconded by Mr. Bayat. So as outlined, forestry number 1 and 2. Transportation report dated 22 November, and the parking permit report dated the 24th, and removal of variances 1, 2, and 3, and variance number 4, the reference to the second level is removed, and the purpose will be updated, and it's the revised plans received the 30th of November. All in favor? Okay. The application with, as amended has been approved unanimously. All righty. Item number 18, 6 FRYBROOK Road. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have an arborist report from Mr. Welsh, the arborist, covering letter from David Bronskill, solicitor, previous decisions affecting this property. We have forestry asking for conditions number 1 and 2. I'm not showing any speakers on this one. So do I have the agent on the line?
As well as the small additional heights for certain areas for wall height, mean that it's a massing that in fact steps away from her property and isn't going to have any type of privacy or overlook impacts on them. It's in fact
David, David, is this
both
you?
the type of built form that's found commonly in this neighborhood and
He must be on the other hearing.
Is he? Oh, is he on the other hearing? Is that possible? Are you joking? Okay, so we're gonna hold this then till we figure out what's going on. This day, I don't know. It's like crazy. Okay.
It'll be memories.
I don't know what else can go. Okay, let's
Is it
go.
a full moon, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. Anyways, we're going to go to item 19. We're going to hold down 18. Okay. All right, item number 19, 53 Boone Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a covering letter from the agent, as well as presentation materials. Correspondence in opposition from number 51. Actually, 3 different people wrote letters in from that address. We have a petition that was signed by 9 people, and I don't show anything in the supplemental. Okay, do I have the agent on the line? Oh, hang on. Now I'm losing.
Hello, Madam Chair.
Hi. Can I just have you state your name for the record? And then I do believe, Cindy, do we have people on the line on hold? Yeah, we do have speakers. So after that, I'll start the clock and you have 5 minutes for presentation.
Craig Race, the architect on the project, and if we could please have our presentation material brought up.
Yeah, give us a sec. I'll wait before starting the clock.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate all of your patience today.
Likewise.
So the application before you is for a 3rd floor addition to a house in Corso Italia at Dufferin and St. Clair. The house has historically been operated as a non-compliant multi-unit house, and the new owners are seeking to legalize it as a 4-plex. Next page, please. Actually, go to the 3rd page if you could. There we go. Thank you. So we've made efforts to preserve the brick front porch, which echoes that of the neighbors. We've also tried crafting the massing to follow the established pattern of 3rd floor dormers on the street. Next page, please. And when we look at the site plan, you'll see we're maintaining the existing footprint, which does follow the predominant front and rear yard dimensions of the block. That's most visible on the next page here, where we have a block plan. So we're just building straight up above the existing footprint, not out at all. We've also included here a few recent examples of 3-story houses in the neighborhood. I actually think our proposal does a bit better job of reinforcing the streetscape than these do, but it's worth noting that dormers and 3rd floor step-ins are beneficial character elements that we've embraced in this design. Next page, please. I won't go through the variances individually. Happy to answer questions, but to summarize, we made efforts to make sure that this just looks like a house. From the street, it fits the streetscape with only one obvious front door. We're also following established patterns of soft landscaping and setbacks. Next page, please. And while we're within the overall height allowance for the lot, a main wall height is triggered by this design. We've attempted to address that through step-ins and dormers. And finally, we've included a list of several properties nearby that exceed our FSI, showing that we are within what has become typical of new proposals in the area. Next page, please. I'll quickly point out that the owners have performed a letter drop for the neighborhood, and we reviewed design with community planning, who helped us arrive at the current design that's before you today and are not objecting. And then the last page, please. To summarize, we think this project is a good example of how Toronto is using established neighborhoods to accommodate expanded housing options. The units we're creating are all 2 bedrooms. They're suitable for young professionals and young families who want to live near schools and parks but can't afford a house yet. And all that is in a form factor that from the street just looks like a normal house. This is an acceptable use in the eyes of the zoning bylaw, and it's supported by the official plan and by city and provincial policy. And really, we just think that this is exactly what our city needs to accommodate its new growth. Thank you very much for my time today, Madam Chair. Happy to take questions.
I think we'll probably hold our questions till after we hear from the opposition. So we'll have you back in a bit. Okay. Do you have the first people on? Are they there?
Hi, Sandra. You've been unmuted. Through you, Madam Chair, it doesn't seem like Sandra may be on the line. I'll try
Can you
again.
go to the next?
Yeah.
Go to the next one, and maybe you can try in the meantime.
Yeah. So the next speaker is Maribeth. Maribeth, you've been unmuted.
Hi, hi, Maribeth, are you there?
Oh, hi. I'm Maribeth Abello. I live on 51 Boone Avenue. I'm next door to the said house that's been talking about. And we were just concerned, frankly, about the integrity of our roof and our foundation and the walls. So that's my main concern.
Okay,
and that's all I could say.
Okay, is Arlene De La Cruz, is she with you, or is this?
Yes, she's on the other line.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So those are your only two concerns then?
Frankly, I have a lot of concern, but my sister Arlene, she will give you all the points that we're discussing.
All right, great. So we'll go to her then. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, Arlene. You've been unmuted.
Oh, hi. My name is Arlene De La Cruz, and I live on 51 Boone Avenue.
Okay, I'm starting the clock now. Arlene, you have 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. So we're concerned with the architectural finish not in keeping with the majority of the street, which has pitched roof dormers. The precedent examples that are purposely built, the semi-detached and the detached, and or expansions to the existing detached homes. The total development on this lot purposes to have 5 units, potentially increasing the density on this lot from a typical census average of a single-family home to 15 to 20 people in average. Mostly adults who will require auxiliary services, infrastructures, and such as on-street parking, increased demand on the wastewater, and etc. The scale of the property, roofs, balconies, paving, reduces significantly the soft landscaping on this lot. This street floods up to 4 to 6 times a year, and the drainage for the most walkouts, the front walkout will need to be pumped to the mains. The rear balconies overlook my used backyard that I have small children and toddlers that plays every day during the summer and the shoulder seasons. Balconies are so close to the property that objects can be thrown to the flat roof or the lower yard. These plans currently show a rear garage, plans for laneway, and I could see that there is an active existing permit on the laneway housing. We just ask the planners to respect architectural integrity of the streets. With respect to the missing middle reasoning of this property, is the applicant suggesting they are providing affordable rents to support the missing middle? If not, then they are. Finally, I share a roof, wall, and foundation with this property. Oh, they're not supporting the missing middle and are in fact maintaining the high rent rates in this area, which forces the middle of our street. And finally, I share a roof, wall, and foundation with this property and have serious concerns about the extent of work at this property, in particularly the roof work, the integrity of my roof once the existing weathering has been affected, has not been addressed properly in these plans. I need to protect my family, my kids, and my home, and object to opening up my roof for any other reason than repairs and maintenance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Panel members, do you have any questions of the speaker? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Arlene. Were you able to get any of the other two?
So believe I would have Hernani Palma on the line.
Okay, you want to give it a shot?
Yeah, Hernani, your web device has been unmuted.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hi, if you could state your name and address for the record, and once you've done that, I'll start the clock. You have 5 minutes.
Okay. My name is Hernani Palma. I live at 34 St. Clair Gardens. I'm almost directly across in the laneway from the new build. So what's happened is I'm concerned with the parking and where they're going to put the density of the people that are going to be moving into all these apartments, because there's already existing no parking on these streets. They're full. And I know that people are using the laneway to park, but they're not parking pads. They have like 4 feet, and normal cars are 6 to 8 feet. So people are parking in the laneway, and the city's not doing anything about it. We call all the time, and it's a problem for the people on this side of the street to get out of their garages, because cars are parked on what they think is a parking pad, which we know it's not. And now that more people are going to be in this house in the garage, it's going to cause even a bigger problem. I want to know what the city's going to do about it, and how are they going to address the people that are parking in the laneway, and for the more people that are going to be in this property where they're going to park.
Okay. I'd love to answer your question. However, this committee only deals with the actual variances, so you'd have to speak to somebody in parking enforcement regarding your parking issues.
I don't think the left hand is talking to the right hand. We do speak to them,
Yeah.
and no one's doing anything about it. So all I'm concerned about is when more people are going to come to this new area, this new house, where are they going to park?
No, I understand your concerns. I'm not showing any correspondence from transportation, though, on this application. So having said that, is there anything about the actual variances that concern you? Because that's what this committee has to look at, the planning merits of this development.
Yeah, no, my wife just got here right now as well.
No worries. You have about 3 minutes left if there's something else you want to add. Are you there, Jeff? Or Hernani, rather. Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Hernani, are you there? Or are you opening the door or something?
Yeah, so no, I was just explaining to my wife that she just walked in. I was just telling her what was going on.
I wasn't sure if we lost you because it's been a day of technical difficulties, or if you were opening the front door or something. Okay, you have 2 minutes. Like, is there anything else you want to add that's specific to the actual variances and planning merits?
No.
Okay, let me see if the panel has any questions. Panel members, do you have any questions of the variances, or of the speaker, rather? Okay, thank you. Were you able to get Jeff or not?
Through you, Madam Chair, we're not able to get in touch with Jeff.
Okay, Mr. Race, are you there? Could you speak to some of the issues that have been raised? We're not able to reach the fourth speaker.
Yes. Yes, thank you. With respect to construction concerns, we certainly will go through the typical process of getting any kind of party wall agreements and ensure that affecting neighbors' roofs and the like will not result in any negative effects on adjacent properties. And also, pursuant to that, there are balconies on this proposal. We reviewed those with planning, and they were deemed to be reasonable. As you can see, there's no planning condition to do anything about those balconies. We think that's mostly because there's a prevalence of third floor roof decks that exist in the neighborhood. And prime examples are both of the immediate neighbors, 51 and 55 Boon. Both have decks existing on their third floor step-ins. That's mostly because there's a great view of downtown from here, and we think that the future occupants of this house are entitled to that, just like all the existing neighbors. Were there any other concerns you'd like me to address, Madam Chair? Sorry, I think that was all I collected.
How many units are in the house now? Just curious. Is it one, or are there already secondary suites in there now?
So it was being operated with multiple suites. I don't know how many, and they were not entitled. Currently, the house is empty. The current owners purchased the property just a few months ago. So I know it's at least 2 units. I think it might be 3. I don't have the exact answer, I'm sorry.
Do you know if the current people or the people that were in there, were they using cars, or do you know?
I also don't know that. I'm sorry. There is an existing 2-car garage on the laneway at the rear of the property. That presumably was being used by the occupants.
Okay, let me see if the panel members have any questions. Anybody? Mr. Bayat. You're
just a question. You mentioned that. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's okay.
Just a quick question with regard to, I think it's last variance number 7, I believe. Yeah. So number 7 says three parking spaces are required to be provided on site. In this case, 1 space will be provided on site. Yet your rendering shows space for 2, and you do have a 2-car garage, as you just mentioned. Why only 1 parking space?
Yes, so this is a classic case of the parking dimensions required by the bylaws are substantially larger than actually work on the site. So this garage is perfectly capable of accommodating 2 normal-sized vehicles, although we only have space for 1 as-of-right dimension space in the garage. So as long as the future occupants don't drive Hummers, we're all going to be okay.
Okay, so this is really a technical issue, not necessarily a practical.
That is correct.
Okay, I think that may alleviate some of the concerns that community members have about parking. Thank you.
Permission to speak?
Sorry, who is this?
It's Arlene.
No, I'm sorry, you can't. The rules are pretty clear that once you've spoken, the applicant then can rebut the issues, and you can't speak again. Sorry. How come she did not help? Okay. So panel members, do you have any other questions? Ms. Hayes?
Just one question. With respect to the balconies at the 2nd and 3rd floor, they're no longer set in like similar ones. Would you have any objection to placing screening on the sides of those from the to address some of the overlook concerns?
That would absolutely be acceptable. Yes, we'd be happy to include those kinds of character elements.
I just have one question. It's not really directly related to the variances, but just because the adjacent neighbor that shares the party wall and the roof, is your client in conversation with them just to alleviate any concerns they have?
They have been in communication so far. Some underpinning work has begun, so there is an existing party wall agreement between the 2 neighbors, or between the 2 properties for that work, and that will be extended for any work that's proposed for the 3rd floor.
Okay, that's great. So if they can continue amicable discussions, I think that would be very helpful. Any other questions?
I will.
Okay, great, thanks. Any more questions, panel members? All right, we'll take it into committee then. Comments? Ms. Hayes.
Thank you. In totality, I think that what is being proposed is an opportunity to add some more units to the area. I think the design is a modern interpretation of some of the characteristics that exist. I don't think that the FSI is much beyond what currently exists. It is close to transportation, the parking issue. renters are going to have to realize that as they move in. If my colleagues have no further comments, I would be prepared to move a motion to approve the application. But I would like to impose the conditions that screening be installed to 1.5 meters on the sides, both sides of both the second and third story balconies.
Okay. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Okay, Ms. Valentini. Okay, so motion to approve, including a condition for screening up to 1.5 meters, both sides of the second and third floor decks. All in favor? Okay, the application has been approved with that condition.
Through you, Madam Chair, we could probably go back to item 18 at this time.
Ask you if
Yes.
you guys have them now.
Yep.
On the line, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, going to item 18 now. All right. Okay, so number 6, FRYBROOK Road. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, an arborist report, a covering letter from Mr. Bronskill, previous decisions, and we have staff reports from tree protection as well as ravine and natural feature protection. And I believe forestry is asking for conditions number 1 and 2. Okay, Mr. Bronskill, are you there?
I am, Madam Chair. My apologies. I think I may have unintentionally been making a presentation to the other panel when you called upon me this afternoon. So my apologies. I had a couple of devices open given the tech issues you've been having.
Yeah, I was going to say, what can I say? It was just another, variable for a day that's gone totally sideways from the start. Anyway.
I hope I didn't confuse you too much with that presentation.
It's okay. We were kind of all looking at each other, and then we muted you because staff figured out you were doing a presentation elsewhere. So I don't know that we need a presentation for this one. Let me check with the panel members. No. Do you have any questions for Mr. Bronskill? Anybody? No. So we're actually ready to go into committee to make a decision on this one. We've read the materials. If there's something you want to add that's not in the submissions or you feel is important, let me know.
No, there is not, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We're in committee. Panel members. Peter, go ahead.
Thanks. I think what's being proposed is very minor. I think a lot of the variances being requested are either existing or close to existing, and the material impact of them on the street or on the neighbors are minimal. So I move to approve subject to urban forestry 1 and 2.
Okay. And Mr. Bayat, second.
Chair, if I may.
Yeah.
Just a question for the applicant. I'm just going to ask, is this an existing structure?
David, we're momentarily out of committee. Mr. Bayat wants to know if it's an existing structure.
What it is, the answer to your question is actually a bit more complicated. Yes and no. It's an existing structure in that there's a what I would call a below grade terrace in that location. And so there are some retaining walls that exist there today. And then what's being done in that below grade space is what would be called a basement extension with a glass roof to create the gym space where that below grade terrace space exists today. That below grade terrace space, frankly, is not particularly well used as part of the existing house because it is below grade. But from the street, you wouldn't really see any structural changes to it. So there is some existing. The glass roof is new.
Thank you.
Any other question before we go back into committee? Okay, so I actually thought you were seconding Mr. Bayat, so I'm not sure if you wanted to or not.
I will, Madam Chair.
Okay, all right. So we have a motion to approve, including forestry conditions 1 and 2, moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Bayat. All in favor? The application's been unanimously approved. Okay, item number 20, 440 Delaware Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have correspondence expressing concern. I'm not sure what the address is. Actually, I'm looking at the supplemental. We had late correspondence that included presentation materials from the applicant, as well as 2 form letters in support from 442, which is adjacent, as well as number 12 Somerset Avenue. Do you have the agent and the speaker? Do you have both? Okay. All right. Do you have the agent on the line?
Hi. Good morning, Chair. Oh, good afternoon. Sorry.
Hi. Is this Han Zhu?
Hi. Yes, this is Hanzu, the agent representing the owners of 440 Delaware Avenue.
Okay. I believe we have somebody speaking in opposition. Are they in opposition, or let me just? Okay. I'll ask them. Okay. Ms. Aruda?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members.
Hi, are you speaking in opposition to this, or are you in support?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll come back to you then. I'm going to get the agent to do a presentation.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Mr. Zhu, we've got one person speaking in opposition, one of the adjacent property owners. Can you give us a presentation no more than 5 minutes? I'm going to start the clock now.
Yes, thank you. Is it possible to pull up the supporting material?
Sure, give us a minute.
You're up.
Hi. Also, is the other supporting material that we submitted, I believe it was the day of, but it was just after the 4:30 deadlines. That copy is available or no?
Are you, okay, so.
Sure, just give us 1
You
minute.
want us to put up the stuff from the supplemental? There's presentation materials in the.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Is that it?
Yes, this is the one. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead. Start now. I'm starting the clock, okay?
Thank you. So once again, my name is Han, representing 440 Delaware. So basically today we're applying for 10 variances for the partial 3rd floor addition as well as the 2nd ground rear addition. The variances 4, 5, 6, 10, and 12 are mainly in relation to existing non-conforming conditions, which is to do with the north side of the property, where the existing setback is currently 0.38 meters, as well as the existing overhangs. So these are the variances that relates to the existing conditions. We are pulling the house back directly in line with this. Variance 11 regarding the front yard setback of the 4.21 meters. This is also existing conditions. We have also actually pulled back the porch to further pull back the house from the streetscape. So in regards the proposed construction, basically we're asking for sidewall heights, floor depths, the building depths, floor space index, as well as the parking. So just to reiterate, the proposed 3rd floor addition will be basically a gambrel type roof with the dormers, Juliet balcony, which is also commonly found in the overall neighborhood. The rear will have a flat roof, top patio decks on the 2nd and 3rd floor. So if you take a look at just the slide above this, you can see that the proposed, the first slide, please, thank you. The 2nd one. You can see that the ground floor addition is in line with the 2 adjacent neighbors. So it does not protrude farther than what is the current south neighbor's patio deck at the back, as well as it's less than the north side neighbor's sunroom addition. The 2nd floor is in line with the current 2-story buildings that's both on the north and south side, and the 3rd story is farther set back. The next slide, you can see that because the house faces the northeast, So in terms of sunlighting, we've did a quick study. It shows that majority of the light is overshadowing the north side property only in the morning time. By the noon and afternoon times, there's no blocking for the proposed additions in the rear. So I do know one of the main concerns for the area, especially after we spoken with a few of the neighbors, is regarding the street side parking, as there's no current parking spaces on the property. And with the increased density, it does call for 4 parking spaces. So I just want to know, majority of the tenants, up to my knowledge, will be public transportations, as it is easily accessible. The floor line, I believe, is only about a 10-minute walk from the current property. The overall proposed height of the building will be basically in sync with what's currently already there in the neighborhood. When we did the design, it was taking into consideration exactly 446 and 448 Delaware. So this is already the 3rd floor height. That's already, believe, 2 houses down over. 3rd floor's additions are commonly found in the area. 3rd floor residential homes is also commonly seen. If you go down to slide number 4, I believe. Yeah, just one more down, thank you. So you can see here the approximate height was taken into consideration, like I mentioned, 446 and 448 Delaware, as well as 3rd story uses is very commonly found in the area. The same style homes is basically kept in sync with what currently on the street scope. And if you go to the next slide, you can see here that the variances that we requested is actually considerably less than many of the variances that was approved in the area in terms of side yard setbacks, building depths, floor spaces, parkings, and basically what has been asked for. So the property is intended for rent, as do the quadplex. If you take a look at the next slide, there are numerous triplexes, quadplexes already in the area. This is the ones that we've spoken with the neighborhood, and it's also been previously approved by the with variances for and legal quadplexes. We understand.
I just want
Yes.
to, you're almost at 5 minutes, so if you can start wrapping up, that'd be great.
Of course. Thank you. Basically, we understand the neighborhood basically consists a lot of the older and newer homes. There are considerable amount of development being done in the area as well. We believe that what we have proposed is in sync with the general intent for the area, and we hope that the committee agrees with our beliefs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Aruda, are you there?
I'm right here. Thank you.
Okay, if you can just state your name and address for the record, and then after you do that, I'll start the clock, okay? You'll have 5 minutes.
My name is Helen Aruda, and I'm representing my mother, Maria de Medeiros, who is the owner of 438 Delaware Avenue. So she's basically located on the south side of where they're building this extension. So I object to the application. The variance requested for the depth of the house is not minor in variance. They are requesting an additional 18.5 feet in depth in order to build a fourplex. The extension design falls outside of the permitted development guidelines. When she looks outside her kitchen window, which is facing north, she will be looking at a brick wall, or she's going to be looking into a doorway and 2 windows on that side of the house. So therefore, she will be losing her privacy. She'll also be having 4 different tenant families living in a residence, which has always been considered for a single family home. So she's very uncomfortable with that. There's also a shared pattern concrete. It's very minor, but in the front of the house. And when they do the extension, they're going to be, I'm assuming, removing the lilac tree that's currently there. And we're concerned that the roots may be underneath the pattern concrete and they may damage it. So as well, we are concerned that there could be damages to her property with the demolition of the roof and the sides with the narrow amount of space between the shared chain link fence. That's all that I need to say right now. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Panel members, any questions of the speaker? Okay. Mr. Zhu, are you there?
Yes.
Can you just speak to the issues that were raised only, okay?
Okay. So I do understand the tree is planned to be removed. So based on excavations, it should not have any damages to the shared concrete pad, which is between the two units. So I just wanted to read that we are keeping with the setback bylaws on the south side of the property. And, we try to avoid, try to reduce the massing as much as we can towards the rear so as to not affect our neighbors. Like I mentioned, the ground floor is not beyond their concrete deck at the rear, as well as our second story is currently where their second story ends as well. Thank you.
Panel members, do you have any questions for the agent? Seeing none? Okay, we're ready to take this into committee then. Any comments? Ms. Valentini?
Thank you. I understand change is hard for neighbors, and I understand why when something's been a certain way for a long period of time, and then it changes, the relation of house next door in terms of the size of it. So I do understand that, but I think on the whole, I am in support of this application. I think the fact that they've made efforts to step the back of the house back in terms of the first floor, second floor, and third floor, so that it is respectful in terms of the depths of the neighbors' houses. I feel goes a long way in making this change more palatable and lessening any impact. So I'm in support of the application. I did note that. In my view, I think it fits within the current sort of pattern on the street in terms of sort of size. And I think there's been, in my view, I think it meets the 4 tests. So I'm happy to bring a motion. I don't know if my colleagues want to add anything to that, but nope. Okay, I'd like to bring a motion forward for approval for the without any conditions for the reasons I just stated.
Okay, Mr. Reid, you're seconding. So motion to approve moved by Ms. Valentini, seconded by Mr. Reid. All in favor? The application's been unanimously approved. Okay, we are starting the afternoon session. Can I just ask how much time's left on the YouTube feed, and then maybe we can just go as long as it's up and then take a break? Because we've been... Okay, panel members, are you okay to go for an hour whilst the YouTube feeds it's working before we have to switch over and take a break then? You're okay with that? Okay. All right, so let's move on then. Item number 21, 17 Grandview Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey site plan and a site plan showing tree details, floor plans, and elevations. We have a revised site plan also, floor plans and elevations, 5 photographs of existing trees, a covering letter from Mr. Galbraith, the agent, arborist report from Brightleaf Limited. We have staff reports. Planning is asking for a condition, forestry conditions number 2 and 3. We have correspondence in support from number 22, Grand Ravine, as well as 19, which is 19's adjacent. And then we have 4 form letters in support from 4 addresses on Grand Ravine and nothing in the supplemental. Okay, and I don't have any speakers listed other than the agent and applicant. So do I have the agent on the line?
Good afternoon.
Hi. Can you just state your name for the record?
My name is Sean Galbraith. I'm a planner here on behalf of the application.
Thanks. Panel members, do you need a presentation or can we go to questions? Do any of you have any questions for Mr. Galbraith? Mr. Bayat, yeah? Go ahead.
All right. Just to the applicant, I notice you've got flagstone paving patio in the back on one of the plans. Is it possible for that to be permeable?
So the The flagstone patio is the existing condition. If I'm looking at the same drawing, there's only the drawing that has flagstone patio written is the existing drawings.
Yes, that's A020.
Yeah, that's the existing condition.
Okay. Is it possible to, is that going to remain presumably?
No, so a new deck is being proposed.
Okay.
There's, other than the deck, the backyard will be a garage, and then a minimal walkway connecting the deck to the garage, and the rest will be soft landscaping.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Hayes?
Thank you. That deck is quite substantive. Is there an ability to make that deck a little less deep to allow for an increase in the landscaping?
There's no variance tied to the size of the deck.
No, I understand. I understand that, but just
it's possible, but I don't know what those numbers would actually look like. The walkway, I'm sure, could be done with permeable pavers to at least increase the soft landscape or the water permeability in that area.
Any other questions, panel members? Seeing none. Okay, Mr. Galbraith, we've read the materials. The panel members don't have any questions. Is there anything you want to add that's not in the submissions before we go into committee?
Nope. I just would like to note that we have the support of both adjacent neighbors.
Okay, and you would be okay with a condition for permeable pavers for the walkway?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right, let's take it into committee, panel members. Mr. Reid.
Thanks. I think this is a nice project, and I think it fits in with redevelopment happening in the neighborhood. The variances there's many of them, but I think most of them are really quite small, both in number and impact. And I'm glad to hear that it has support of the two adjacent neighbors. So I'd like to move approval subject to community planning comment and urban forestry condition 2 and 3, plus adding a condition that the rear, the pathway in the backyard be constructed with water permeable pavers.
Okay, so for that motion, a seconder is Ms. Valentini. All in favor? The application's been unanimously approved. Thank you. Item number 22, 296 Euclid Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a copy of late plans, late zoning waiver, and a red line public notice, covering letters from the agent, correspondence in opposition from 265, as well as 2 residents from 267, which is adjacent. Do you have everybody listed here on the line? Okay. So do I have the agent on? Can you identify yourself, please, for the record?
Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Matviva. I'm a planner with Glenn Schnarr & Associates, and I'm the agent on behalf of the owner.
Hi. Okay, I'm going to need you to do a presentation. I'm starting the clock now. I've got 3 people listed in opposition. Go ahead.
Okay. So the site that we're looking at is on the east side of Euclid Avenue. It's located within an established neighborhood that includes a variety of built forms and architectural styles. There have been a number of redevelopment properties up and down the street. The owner is seeking permission to construct an altered dwelling with a rear and 3rd-story addition, a basement secondary suite, as well as a new accessory detached garage. To facilitate this proposal, there's a total of 14 variances that are required. In the interest of time, I'm not about to go through all of them. The red line public notice identifies the variances that have been modified. After conversations with the neighboring property owners, some revisions to the proposal have been made. This includes frosted glass on the 4 windows on the 2nd story along the south side facade. excuse me, there's also a revised entranceway into the basement secondary suite such that the entrance would be entirely contained on the subject lands. The overall density has been revised to be 1.6 FSI, whereas the initial application proposed an FSI of 1.73. Additionally, a revised drawing has been prepared for the accessory garage. So as such, the variance that's related to the eave encroachment has been reduced. Overall, I'd like to highlight that a number of the variances that are requested are to recognize existing conditions. In essence, the existing exterior walls of the dwelling have been in those locations for many, many decades, nearly a century, in fact. And so some of the variances related to the side yard setbacks, the front yard setback, are to recognize these existing conditions that exist on the property today. The home has been designed to address as many of the community concerns that have been vocalized. I'd also like to highlight that the requested variances are within range of previous approvals. Additionally, there has been careful consideration of this design, as it is our feeling that the design is appropriate for the neighborhood. It's similar to newer dwellings that are in the neighborhood and even along the street. And the overall architectural style and built form is felt to be complementary to the existing established neighborhood. As outlined in my cover letter, it is my opinion that the proposal meets the 4 tests under the Planning Act. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Sorry, before I go to the opposition, did you say the FSI you're asking for is now 1.6, or did I, are you changing any of these variances before us, or were you just saying you had made changes before the actual notice that we have now?
So the notice, there was an error on the part of the architectural plans. So on the public notice, the FSI is noted as 1.73.
Right.
FSI, that is an error. It includes a garage area that should not have been included in the first place. So the 1.6 FSI excludes the garage, and that's based on the definition and the permissions of the zoning bylaw.
Okay, so I guess my question is, just because I heard you say 1.6, are you amending that variance then, or because if
yeah.
So you're amending variance number 8 to read 1.6, and then we need the square meters also.
Correct.
Can you give us the correct square meters also?
I can, just bear with me for 1 second. The square meters would be 296.62.
Okay. And but the rest is okay, right? So that's the only one, the only variance.
So there are a few other modified variances, so I'll just go in order based on the public notice. Can you
please start from the beginning, because I was actually looking and I don't see any red lines through mine, but regardless, you have to make the amendments here, so if you can just start at the beginning.
So variance 1 remains the same. There is no modifications to it.
Okay, just tell me just tell me the ones that are changing, like in order.
Sorry, my apologies.
No.
Variance 4.
Okay.
So the roof eaves are to encroach a total of 0.31 meters into the side south lot line.
Okay.
And that's due to rounding.
Okay, so that's variance 4. Yep, go ahead.
Variance 7, the altered dwelling will have a depth of 20.73 meters.
Sorry,
20.73.
Okay. And then variance 8 is 1.6, and that's 296.62 square meters, right?
Correct.
Okay. Anything else?
And that was it.
That's it?
No.
Okay, staff, did you get all that? Okay. All right, so I'm going to go to the opposition now, and then we'll have you back for questions, okay?
No problem.
Thanks. Okay, Herminio, are you there?
Hello?
Hi.
No, say it's you. Yeah, it's me, yes.
Okay, great. I'm good. I need your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Herminio Vaza. The phone number is
Not phone number, your address.
Address is a 267.
Don't give the whole world your phone number here. Just give us your address, okay?
I'm an old man. Nobody's going to call me.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. It's 267 Euclid.
Okay. Thanks. And now you have.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something? My son, he can speak from instead of being my son, he can speak for him.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So I'm gonna start the clock now. Okay. So you have 5 minutes. So go ahead.
Okay. So with regards to a quick introduction, the person or the planner that introduced some of the comments. Some of them were not accurate. With regards to discussing stuff with my parents, with frosted windows and opening of windows, that was never discussed. Most of the changes to the plans that they put was because of the objection letters that we sent in. And with regards to the existing wall that they're referring to on the older structure, that was actually updated in 2001 because my dad's home was constructed in 2000 to 2001 and was obligated to fix that wall. So it's not really standing. Maybe the interior portion of it is original to the building, but the exterior sheathing and weathering is done recent in the last 20 years. To my dad's point, his concerns with the minor variances, we don't see it as minor variances. We see it as major variances on his part. With regards to, there's a lot of gray areas with regards to the setbacks. Most setbacks are all set at 0, which creates a whole slew of concerns for him with regards to, in the sense, building the foundation walls. That would indicate that the footing would have to go onto his property, as well as if they erect the building, they no longer have access for maintenance, water drainage, any other exterior uses with, let's say now utilities. Where would they put the utilities? Gas, water meters, air conditioners, furnace outputs and exhausts. According to the design on one of the pages, it shows the drainage on the roof, the flat roof, exposes the water to the north and south side. I would assume on the drawings I can't see, but it would have to have a downspout into the south side, which would put the water all on my father's side. And like I said, that would cause a lot of problems, as well as even building the walls upright. Any ground level or grade level would be built in a way so that the ground level would be away from the new building. So if it's set 0, all the water would be going towards my father's side. As well, like I said, it becomes a maintenance issue. They have no wall or space to maintenance any of the new building. So other than that, they would be always using my father's property. Another issue is if they want to confirm with the drainage, with the weeping tile and all that, that would indicate how would they access that. In my opinion, they would have to destroy the walkway, dig down to put the proper weeping tiles and grades and all that for the proper drainage for that building. Another concern is the variance on the garage. They built the, according to the drawings, the updated plans, the wall of the garage will sit on the property line, their property line, and the eaves will overhang over into my dad's property. I don't understand why that would be necessary when most of the garages here in the general area have a slope facing the east and west side to avoid issues like that. So it's just, I don't understand why they would build something in total width bigger than the property itself. So the property is 15.6, and with east draw side to side is 17 feet. So they're willingly going over their size limit of their lot for no reason. I don't get that part. And further thing is that when my father also built the home in 2000 and 2001, he as well had to go to committee of adjustments with regards to a lot of these variances. So my dad had to compromise in a lot of aspects to accommodate the same situation that this homeowner wants to build. But my dad had to put all his utilities in the front of his home, hydrometers, gas meters, had to do all the setbacks. do no windows on either side because of fire and access to his property to maintenance. So my dad's an elderly person, already retired, and he had at that time had to do all of it, and he took all those considerations into maintaining his property. And at this forefront, looking at this property, it seems like they want to maximize everything to the extent where anything that has to be maintenance on that home will have to be either done on the north side property or the south side property owners. And I think that's just wrong, because if what exists, it's fine. We can't help that. But building the addition upward and to the zero set line causes a big problem. And the windows as well cause a big fire hazard, because all the wood burning or fire instruments are all located on the south wall. The furnace is on the basement south wall, kitchen is on the main south wall, washer and dryer are also located on the south wall, I believe either on the second or third floor, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, you know, my dad had to accommodate a lot of stuff for him, and he gets that, you know, a lot of this is tight and narrow areas here in Toronto, but if he can do it, if he can do it, sorry.
No, sorry to cut you off, but you're over 5 minutes. I need you to wrap
Okay,
up.
sorry. Okay, I'll wrap it up. Yeah, so in essence, his major concern, again, is all maintenance and what's going to happen on his south side if all these are not set back to the required setbacks. All he wants is the setbacks, and he's concerned that all this building and construction is just going to dig away and leave issues in the future. Same thing with the extension of the building going beyond the back here and raising 3 stories high, which will pretty much cover his more than half of his porch. He'll lose all his visual looking outside.
I'm sorry, but
okay, sorry.
I
No worries.
I gotta cut you off. You're at over 6 minutes.
No worries.
So is your name also Herminio, or because I need your actual name for the record, so I'm not.
Yeah, my name is Nando Vasa.
Nandro, Nandr.
No, Nando. Nando Vasa.
Nando, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm his eldest son.
All right, thank you, Nando.
No worries.
Okay, panel members, any questions of the speaker? Seeing none. Do you have Jackie?
Yes, hello?
Hi, I need your name and address for the record, please.
Jackie, from 271 Euclid Avenue.
Okay, I'm starting the clock now. You have 5 minutes, okay?
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say to just please stick to the actual variances and the planning matters. I know. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. We emailed the concern we have with the neighbor, and they did not respond to our emails for like the concern to reduce. They are requesting the length of the buildings. The length of the building they are requesting is 20.73 meters right now, which is 3-story up, like 20 for first and second floor. And then the third floor is like 1 meter, probably like around 19 meters building length for the buildings. But we are in a 0.6. FSI floor index areas. So we haven't seen any variance, like this kind of variance with 20.73 meters in this area. Usually what we see 20 point above like that number or above 20 is in density of 1.0, which is south of Dundas. We are at north of Dundas, and then we are typically seeing around 18 meters, which the current length of the building is already at 18 meters. But imagine that they build like a 2 stories and 3-story up of the buildings. They are going to have heavily impacted our sunshine during the daytime, like around 12 o'clock, and then all the way to afternoon. The whole wall will be going to, and we have tried to ask them about this, and then they did not respond to us for this concern to ask them to reduce the length of the building, and as well as the setback for the front porch stairs. That I have some concern about that one is they have the privacy concern, because when they stand in the porch, when they have a 0 setback, they are going to overlook into our like windows. Because they are raising their first floor elevation height like to like there are more steps, so they are going to overlook when they're standing on the porch area, and then they can overlook into our windows. And then as well as the variance, let me see. Yeah, we have mainly concern about is the length of the buildings. We think their existing length of building is sufficient, which already more than 17 meters by 1 story. So we are thinking is that if they can reduce into like 18 or like 17 point something, that will be great. Yeah. That's all our concern from the concern from our part.
Okay, thank you, sir. Panel members, do you have any questions of the speaker? Seeing none? Thank you. Do you have the third speaker on the line?
Hi, Bing Li Lin, you're unmuted.
Hi.
Wait, hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you please state your name and address for the record?
Yeah. So my name is Shaoliang Huang. So I'm living in 273 Euclid Avenue.
Sorry, is your name?
I'm representing my dad.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Can you please do me a favor? Please spell your name because I didn't catch it.
Sure. SHAOLIANG. That's my first name, and then my last name is HUANG.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm going to start the clock. You have 5 minutes.
Sure. So our main concern is that they are increasing the length of their building. So so from our backyard, we can see that their building is extended to the east side. So it extends it way beyond the length of our building. So if they create a 3-story, if they add the extension, it will be 3-story high, right? So it will block like most of the sunshine, for our backyard. So my mom and my father does not like that, because my brother and sister, they spend a lot of time in the backyard. So our main concern is the wall that's being built up, and then my view because my room is facing the backyard too. So if they put up that wall, it blocks like a lot of my view from the window too. So, and it's quite depressing to stare at a giant wall every day when you're out the backyard. So that's our main concern.
Thanks.
And that will be pretty much all. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none. Stephanie, are you there?
Yes.
Can you please speak only to the issues raised? I'm setting the clock for 5 minutes, okay?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
So in response to the concerns raised by Jackie Sue, I do understand that there have been attempts to have correspondence with the owner. In my conversations with the owner, there were many on-site meetings that occurred to walk through the design. I understand that there's the concern with the building depth. Just to reiterate, we did do an analysis of surrounding decisions, and it is incorrect that a building depth of what is requested has not been granted. There have been building depths of 17.78 to 34.74 meters granted in the surrounding area. Additionally, residential densities, there have been densities approved that exceed what is being requested here. In terms of the concerns with the porches, the front porch will not overlook into the windows. The porches that are proposed on the 3rd level on the front and the rear elevations, there is an exterior wall that extends all the way up to prevent overlook and privacy concerns. I will not touch on the utility or the foundation. In my opinion, those are issues to be dealt with at a later permitting process. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Any questions of the agent panel members? Ms. Hayes, and then Mr. Bayat.
Could you point to similar properties that you're proposing with the depth and the FSI on Euclid?
I can pull up our surrounding decisions. One of the most immediate, sorry, bear with me for one moment. There are quite a number on Euclid Avenue themselves. I'm just having trouble nailing down which ones exactly. Okay. So one of the most immediate is 506 College Street. That one had a building depth approved of 34.74 meters. That's within 500 meters of this property.
You're muted.
Right, that's on College Street?
Yes. There's others on Palmerston Avenue as well that had an approved building depth of 25.53 meters. And again, all of these are within 500 meters or what's considered the surrounding area of this property.
Thank you.
Mr. Bayat.
Just to follow up on Ms. Hayes' question, you mentioned the property on Palmerston. Is that property size equivalent to the subject property 269 Euclid?
It is comparable.
Are they comparable properties in terms of size? The question I also have is, you've got an existing structure now, 269. What is the actual depth of the property as it stands?
Bear with me for one moment.
Sure thing.
The property has a depth of 29.54 meters.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that.
Sorry, it's 39.53 meters in depth.
The entire one, entire property.
Correct.
And you're asking for an increase of how many?
So there is an existing addition that is in place and it exists on the lot today. We are asking for a building depth of 20.73 meters.
You're asking for 20.73, but the existing one with the existing addition, what is that depth? Is that the one that's 30? Well, you mentioned 39 feet or meters?
Sorry.
I'm a little puzzled. You're asking
so the
for
existing lot from front yard to rear yard is 39.73 meters in depth.
Okay, and the existing property, the building? Sorry, I should have said the building, not the property.
Sorry, that's okay.
I beg your pardon.
I'm just looking at the architectural plan.
Sure thing.
The existing dwelling is currently 20.56 meters in depth.
So you're just asking for a minor difference there?
Correct.
From what's existing to what you want. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Also, can you do you know the existing FSI?
I do. The existing FSI is 0.76.
Okay, thank you. So no further questions, panel members? If not, we will take it into committee for a decision. Okay, who wants to weigh in? Mr. Reid.
Thank you. I think on first blush, it didn't look that much, right? It's only a minor increase in depth, but the more I looked at this application, the more concerned I got. I think it's a very narrow lot for the area and a very deep building. And then this addition going up over is adding what I feel is too much square footage. And particularly because it's gone up in a three-story fashion, basically the whole way back. I think it's the impacts of that building on the neighbors' backyards is going to be very significant. So I can't support it.
Ms. Valentini.
I'm just going to echo that comment. I mean, often when we see three-story or buildings going up to 3 stories, often there's step backs and there's, we don't see much of that happening here. So I agree with Mr. Reid has said, although the depth variance might seem like it's a little more than what's currently existing, it looked like to me like a large portion of that depth on the existing building is 1 story in height. So to be going up 3 full stories is going to be a huge change, and adding that much FSI to what's currently existing is going to, I agree with Mr. Reid on this size lot, it's going to feel very massive.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'm happy to bring a motion.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm happy to bring a motion to refuse the application.
Okay, and that's seconded by Ms. Valentini. So motion to refuse the application moved by Mr. Reid, seconded by Ms. Valentini. All in favor? Okay, the application's been unanimously refused. Thank you, everybody. Item number 23. Okay, we have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a copy of a revised site plan, which was received after the public notice went out, 4 photographs of the subject property, as well as previous decisions affecting the property. We have a staff report from planning that's asking to refuse variance number 2. We have forestry asking for condition number 2. And correspondence in opposition from number 371. And I don't show any speakers listed. Okay, do I have the agent on the line?
Madam Chair, my name is Enzo Lacasano. I am the agent for this application.
Hi, let me see if we need, I don't think we need a presentation. Does anybody have any questions for the agent?
Madam Chair, we do have a change to variance number 2 based on what planning and we discussed with them. We've increased that number for the landscaping. Again, this was an inherited building for my client. So the percentage has gone up to 14.8%, which reflects 14.74 square meters of green landscaping.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you just repeat that? So that's variance, is that number 2?
Number 2, that's correct. So the percentage is now 14.8%.
Yep.
And the area is now 14.74 square meters.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
I can give a really brief presentation if required.
Yeah, let me check with the panel members.
Sure.
I'm not getting any yeses nodding. I don't know if Ms. Hayes has a question, and I think Ms. Valentini does also. So I think we'll go to questions.
Okay.
I have a question. So how did the landscaping go from a previously approved 44 to 14?
Well, the
And
existing.
can't that
well,
be corrected?
Yeah, the existing garage has actually been there since 1944, which we pulled up an old survey. It was actually torn or condemned by the city and rebuilt in 2009. There was an addition to the house in 2015 with I think it was a 2-story rear addition. And again, the garage was there, and I think at the time the Committee of Adjustment had approved for, I think it was 44% landscape in the back, which didn't exist because the garage and the way they took the area is they took the area from the back of the house to the laneway, and not really what was available to them, because the garage has been there again prior to 1944. So I'm not sure what happened at the time. Obviously, we weren't involved with this project then. But our client is a new owner to the property. They do want to increase the landscaping that they inherited and create more green space. We did provide a revised site plan showing very modestly of what was left. We've now increased it by almost 50% of what was there. Because right now it's pretty much all hard landscaping except for 2 planting beds around the perimeter. So I don't know if they want the staff can put up the revised site plan, as they can see the impact. We're trying to improve, but again, the client or the owner would like some hardscape for, set up a picnic table, but also, there it is there. And also there's space for, because this property is quite unique. It has it faces 2 streets. Grace on the one side and Jersey on the other.
So has this already been constructed and you're seeking permission now?
No. The only thing we haven't constructed is the green space and the addition. That's what we're applying for. There's a small addition to that existing garage, which I've shown pictures of that garage. If staff wants to put that up, it's under the correspondence.
Under the photos.
It's okay. I got it.
Yeah, we're gonna put it up. Just give us a second.
So you're just filling it. You're basically just extending the second story out.
Yeah, if you see the
house.
picture, it'll be obvious to you.
I've seen the picture. That's fine.
Yeah, and what we've done is because that's an open riser stair, we're going to put green space under the stair as well, put planting beds in front of it, and then turn the corner on the north side, which gives now not bad, or at least some green space than what was there before, but also some hardscape.
But isn't the backyard basically all pavers?
Right now it is, yeah.
So why
there
can't
is
that
2
be
planting
changed?
beds.
But why can't that be changed?
Well, again, that's what we're doing. We are changing it.
No, but you're changing it to, it can't be improved more than that.
Right, but you have to understand what is available to us. The number is skewed because the number takes into account the actual garage that's there. So that's why the percentage number drops.
No, I understand
really what it
that.
should do is, because this is an existing garage, we should really look at the area from the garage to the house and say, okay, what is the percentage landscape there? And not because the garage has been there since, again, prior to 1944.
No, I understand the garage.
Right. So again,
I'm looking
you can't
at the
really look
drawing
at
that
the
says
number.
Okay, existing interior courtyard landscape stone.
Correct. That's a landscape
You're not
stone.
intending to decrease that at all.
Yes. Well, that's why the planting beds. We're adding the planting beds. Where you see planting beds right now is stone. And we're
So you're
taking some
taking
of the
that
stone out.
Okay.
Yeah, we're removing some of the stone.
I
wow.
think what
No,
Ms. Hayes
thank
is,
you.
is trying to see if you could do a little bit more than that.
Better.
If
Again, what would Ms. Hayes like to, like, how much more?
Well-
Again, we have to be practical, is that, you know, there's 3 kids, it's a young family. They need play space as well, and a place to put a table to have an outdoor dinner. You know, I think this is really modest. I think if you look at Google, in most of those backyards, it's
I just
pure
asked the
concrete.
question. If that's your submission, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
Any other? Oh,
Can I
Ms.
ask a question?
Valentini. Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So the planning report recommends refusal for the variance about the softscape.
Landscape.
Yes, that's what I just said. So yes. What you've increased it. Have you talked to planning about your new proposal?
No, because to be honest with you, when I checked the AIC this morning, there was no planning report there. So my assumption was that they had agreed to what I had sent them.
Because the report I have is dated November 24th, so you didn't see the report until.
Posted.
Okay, well, I can't speak to that because we've got it dated November 24th. So is this the first time you're hearing about this?
After the fact, yes. After we sent these drawings, we did have conversation with planning. We revised our site plan. We've resubmitted to planning and also to committee of adjustment, and we never heard back from planning. And I looked on the AIC site this morning, and there was still nothing posted by staff. So my assumption was that planning accepted that.
Okay, just a second. Deputy Secretary Treasurer wants to make a comment.
Through you, Madam
Sure.
Chair, planning did submit their comments. We received that on November the 24th. If they were to revise these comments, they would have notified our office, which they didn't. So their planning report dated November 24th stands.
Okay, any other questions, panel members?
Again, Madam Chair, we are willing to increase the landscaping, obviously to meet the committee's recommendations, but again, what number? That's all we got to figure out is what we're going to be.
Well, look,
it's just a matter of removing stone.
No, understood, but I don't think it's the committee's sort of not our place to tell you how much. So I think what the members were getting at is, like, can you maximize it more, and what's the maximum you can give us that may or may not satisfy the members in terms of that particular variance. That's what they were getting at. So it's not for us. It's not for us to put the number on. It's for you to put the number on it. So I don't know if you I know you've already made an effort to the 14.8. So I guess, are you able to do better on that number or not?
Again, it's just a matter of figuring out what those numbers are. Yeah. Again, the percentages that I can increase, it might be, maybe 1 or 2% of what's available back there. I'm not, we're not talking that I'm going to even get close to 44%. That's just not possible because the 44% is based on the land area to the back laneway, which I don't have available to me.
Understood. It's the committee's grappling with the planning report and with the 14.8%. That's all I'm saying. So if you want to leave it at that, that's fine. If you want to improve it more, that's up to you, because we're about to go into committee. So you want to leave it at the 14.8 then?
Again, we can, I'd be just guessing at this point. Maybe we can raise it to 16%. Let me get my calculator.
Yeah, I want you to be sure with the number you give us. I don't.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay, I don't want to push you into a number you're not comfortable with.
Okay, so 16% would bring us to 15.93 square meters.
Okay, so you're amending number 1, is it? 2?
Number
Sorry.
2.
Number 2. Oh, yeah, I can't even read my own writing
Just-
anymore here. Okay, variance number 2 to 16%,
Would go to
which is
16%.
15.93 square meters. Okay,
Correct.
all right. Well, let's see what the committee decides. Like, I don't know. Okay. Panel members, any other questions before we go into committee on this? Okay, and Mr. Locasano, is there anything else that you want to add that hasn't been covered already? You feel?
I don't believe so. Everything else is pretty much what's there. It's an existing condition. So that's pretty much it.
All right, thanks. Okay, panel members, we're in committee. Mr. Bayat.
A question through you, Madam Chair, to our Deputy Secretary Treasurer, perhaps. She may be able to answer the question. If this application is refused on the basis of the planning staff report, and all the other variances approved, will the applicant have the possibility of revising the information, providing it to planning, and what happens subsequently if planning then finds an acceptable number?
If it's still deficient, they'd have to come back for the one variance. Right, unless they comply.
Just for the one variant?
Yeah,
Okay.
if they comply, then it'd be fine, but if it still doesn't comply, they have to come back for the one variance, if they're still deficient.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, we're in committee. Ms. Hayes.
Can I just go out of committee for a minute, just ask one other question? Would your client be amenable to replacing existing pavers with permeable pavers?
Are you there, Mr. Locasano? Is he muted?
Yes, I am.
Okay, sorry, you were muted. So did you hear the question?
Oh, sorry.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as I know, I don't know what stone is there now. It is possible that there are permeable pavers back there, but I don't see why my client would not be able to meet that recommendation.
Okay, so if a condition were put in, potentially you'd be comfortable with that?
Yes.
Okay, anybody else before we go back into committee? Excellent. Let's go back into committee then. Any discussions, further comments? A motion? Mr. Reed, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, sure, I'll go ahead. I think that the fact that the applicant has increased the space being proposed for green space is a positive step. And I do think that almost 16 square meters within that small kind of courtyard area, it doesn't sound like a lot, but I think 16 square meters is a meaningful amount there. And I think coupled with permeable pavers, I think it's kind of the best that can come out of this from my perspective. So I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application as amended, with variance number 2 being at 16%, with the additional condition that the remaining pavers in the rear yard be constructed with permeable pavers, and urban forestry condition 2.
Okay, do I have a seconder, Ms. Hayes? So that motion with the variance number 2 being amended to 16%, which is 15.93 square meters. A condition, the rest of the back be impermeable pavers. Forestry condition number 2. Moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Ms. Hayes. All in favor? Okay, the application's been approved unanimously with those conditions. Okay, how's the YouTube feed? Do we have time for one more? Yeah, no, one is, I'm showing one one is in support. You want to try it? So what do I have, 20 minutes, 30? To call it? Okay, we are going to, because we have opposition on 24, we're going to lose the YouTube feed, and the panel has not had any breaks, nor have the staff to have any lunch, dinner, nothing since 9 o'clock. So we're going to take a break, but I'd like to try to get through number 25 if we can before we do that. So, okay, so item 25 is 165 GEARY Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have previous committee decisions regarding this property. We have a letter of recommending approval from Councillor Bylow. We have staff reports from Heritage. They have a condition as well as planning. And we don't have any opposition. We don't have any speakers listed. So do I have the agent on the line?
Yes, Madam Chair, it's Stephen Fong, architect and agent.
Okay, panel members, do you need a presentation on this? I think we're good. Do you have any questions? Anybody? Mr. Reed?
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, just to make sure, to the applicant, are you aware of and agree with both the community planning and heritage conditions?
We are aware of these. With regard to the staff report, we would prefer that this be approved without that condition. We have, in fact, had a rail safety study done by Intuitive in July 2021. We have their agreement that it seems like a good proposal. The condition says a policy that states that new development at the south of GERRARD Avenue should have a rail impact study. This is not new development. It's actually an interior alteration within an existing building. And other uses in that building are similar to what we are proposing.
Okay, but you said you've done the study already?
Correct, July 2021.
So wouldn't you be able to just give that to planning and get their sign off from that?
Absolutely. We just wanted it to be cleaner if possible, but we are not, we don't have a problem with giving that report over.
Any other questions, panel members? Okay, seeing none. Okay, Mr. Fong, we're ready to take this into committee. We've read the materials. We have no further questions. Is there anything you want to add that's not in the submissions?
Everything is fine. We think this is in line with the new October bylaw, and we look forward to your decision.
Thank you very much. Panel members, we're in committee. Ms. Hayes.
Thank you. I would propose to support this application. GEARY Avenue has been going through tremendous change over the last while. This is not uncharacteristic of some of the developments that are on that street. And if my colleagues have no further comment, I would move to approve the application subject to both the planning condition and the heritage condition.
All right. Do I have a seconder for that? Ms. Valentini? Okay, motion to approve, including the planning and heritage conditions, both dated 24th of November, moved by Ms. Hayes, seconded by Ms. Valentini. All in favor? Your application has been unanimously approved. All right, until 6:45. Are you okay with that? Yeah. Okay, everybody listening, we are going to take a 45-minute break. And so we're going to actually, approximately, we'll be back at 6:45. And we will then start with item number 24, which is 220 Cottingham Street. So again, apologize for the delay, but it's been a rough day so far. So we'll see you at 6:45.
For those of you who are watching on the YouTube stream, we're going to be ending this stream. And
See you guys later.
we're going to be ending the stream and we're going to be continuing on the next Committee of Adjustment, Toronto East York PM stream. So again, for those of you who are watching this YouTube stream, it's going to be ending, and you can find us on the next available Committee of Adjustment, Toronto East York, December 1st PM YouTube stream.